The morning sun filtered softly through the canopy of pine and maple, casting golden patterns across the packed dirt path. The Evans family set out early, energized by the promise of a new adventure and the gentle hush of the forest. There was Tom, the father, with his sturdy backpack and ever-ready compass. Linda, the mother, whose laughter carried on the breeze, and their 2 children, Sophie, 12, curious and quick-witted, and Max, 8, whose boundless energy threatened to outpace even the most ambitious of plans. They had chosen Pine Hollow State Park for its winding trails and whispering creeks, eager to lose themselves in the green embrace of summer. The official trail maps were spread out on the hood of their car that morning, routes traced in bright highlighter, plans made and double-checked. Yet, as they hiked deeper into the woods, the urge to explore, to discover something unseen, began to tug at them. It was Sophie who first spotted the faint break in the undergrowth, a narrow path half hidden by ferns and overgrown brambles. It led away from the main trail, its entrance marked only by a weathered stone, half buried and moss-covered. The family paused, curiosity flickering in their eyes. The path wasn't on any of their maps. Tom hesitated, glancing at his compass and GPS, but the spirit of summer adventure was hard to resist. With a shrug and a grin, he led the way, and the family slipped from the beaten track onto the unmarked trail. At first, the path felt secretive, a hidden corridor through the forest. The light dimmed as the trees grew closer, the air thick with the scent of pine and earth. The world narrowed to the hush of leaves underfoot, the distant call of a woodpecker, and the steady rhythm of their footfalls. The trail twisted and turned, doubling back upon itself, and the forest deepened around them, older, wilder, untouched. After an hour, Linda checked her watch. The trail was growing narrower, the brambles clawing at their clothes. The map showed nothing in this direction, and the GPS flickered uncertainly. Still, they pressed on, curiosity mounting as the forest seemed to close in, the sunlight thinning to slivers. Max was the first to notice the change. The birdsong faded, replaced by a heavy pressing silence. The trees were thicker here, gnarled and ancient, their roots curling up from the earth like the fingers of sleeping giants. Shadows pooled in the hollows, and the air felt colder, as if the summer warmth had been left behind. Sophie shivered, glancing over her shoulder, suddenly aware of how far they'd come. Tom stopped, consulting his compass. The needle spun lazily, refusing to settle. He frowned, tapping it, but the direction remained unclear. Linda tried her GPS. No signal, just a blinking error message. A prickling unease threaded through the family, but Tom forced a reassuring smile. "It's just a blip. Let's keep going. Maybe the trail loops back." They pushed onward, the silence pressing in. The path began to slope downward, the ground soft and uneven beneath their feet. Strange stones jutted from the earth, carved with patterns obscured by lichen. Sophie bent down, tracing one with her fingers, but the markings were unfamiliar. Neither nature's art nor any she recognized from her books. Max clung closer to his mother, his earlier bravado fading. "Are we lost?" he whispered. Linda squeezed his hand, but her smile was brittle. "We're together. That's what matters." As they walked, the forest seemed to change. The trees pressed closer, their branches arching overhead, blocking out the sun. The family's voices sounded muffled, swallowed by the dense air. The path twisted, and soon they were surrounded by a wall of green, every direction the same. The Evanses stopped, confusion and fear gnawing at their confidence. Tom tried to retrace their steps, but the trail behind them had vanished, swallowed by the undergrowth. No matter how they searched, they could not find the way they'd come. The birdsong remained absent, replaced by the faint rustle of something moving just beyond sight. Panic flickered in Sophie's eyes, but Tom knelt beside her, his voice calm. "We'll get out. We just need to keep our heads." But even as he spoke, Tom felt the weight of the forest pressing in, old and implacable. They tried to mark their path, tying strips of cloth to branches, but each time they looked back, the markers were gone, as if the woods themselves had swallowed them. Linda's phone battery died, and the last bar of sunlight faded as the canopy thickened overhead. The family huddled together, their breaths quickening. Night fell fast and sudden, an unnatural darkness settling over the forest. Shadows writhed among the trees, shapes shifting in the periphery. Max whimpered, and Sophie clutched his hand. The forest seemed alive with secrets, every rustle and snap magnified in the oppressive gloom. Exhaustion forced them to stop. They built a small camp, the flicker of their flashlight beams barely piercing the darkness. Strange sounds echoed in the night, soft whisperings, the crack of a twig, the low moan of wind that seemed to carry distant voices. Sleep was restless and filled with uneasy dreams. At dawn, the forest looked unchanged, the trail as lost as before. Desperation set in. They rationed water, voices hushed. Each attempt to retrace their steps led them in circles, always returning to the same ancient stone, its carved surface now seeming almost to pulse with a faint, unnatural glow. Sophie, brave and determined, refused to give in. She noticed that the moss on the trees grew heavier on one side, a subtle clue. With a deep breath, she convinced her family to follow her instincts, using the moss as a guide. The trail was treacherous, but slowly, steadily, the forest thinned. After what felt like hours, a shaft of sunlight broke through the canopy, and the Evanses stumbled, blinking, onto a familiar path. Relief flooded them as they recognized a trail marker from the park's official maps. They hurried back toward the main entrance, hearts pounding. When they finally emerged from the woods, the world seemed brighter, the air lighter. They found a ranger who listened with a grave face as they told their story. He shook his head. There's no unmarked trail out there, never has been, and that stone, no one's ever found anything like it. The Evans family glanced back at the forest, the trees whispering in the wind. Safe, but forever changed, they understood that some trails are unmarked for a reason, and some secrets are meant to remain hidden in the heart of the wild. In the stillness of a summer night, when the world seems to pause and the mountains slumber beneath a cloak of darkness, a serene lake lies nestled among ancient pines. Its waters, black as obsidian under the moon's pale gaze, reflect only the faintest shimmer of starlight. Here, laughter and quiet conversation echo as a group of late-night swimmers slip into the cool embrace of the lake, drawn by the thrill of secrecy and the promise of adventure. The air is crisp, tinged with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. The swimmers' voices are soft, muffled by the vastness of the wilderness. They wade deeper, their bodies slicing through the surface, sending ripples gliding toward the shore. For a moment, there is only the gentle lapping of water and the distant call of an owl. The world feels untouched, isolated, as if the boundaries between reality and legend have blurred beneath the mountain's shadow. Then, slicing through the stillness, comes a sound no one expects, a scream, distant yet unmistakable. It rises from across the water, chilling in its intensity, echoing off the granite cliffs that cradle the lake. The swimmers freeze, their hearts pounding, their breath catching in their throats. The scream is neither animal nor human, but something in between, a raw, desperate cry that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. For a moment, silence returns, deeper than before. The swimmers exchange uneasy glances, trying to laugh it off, rationalize what they've heard. Perhaps it was a fox, someone suggests, or the wind twisting through the trees. But as they tread water, the scream comes again, louder this time, closer, reverberating through the night air. It is a sound laced with agony, terror, and something ancient, a warning carried across generations. The bravest among them calls out, his voice trembling, asking if anyone is there. The words are swallowed by the darkness, the only answer a faint rustling from the far shoreline. The others urge him to swim back, but curiosity holds him fast. What if someone needs help, lost or injured in the woods? Yet as the scream rises a third time, impossibly close, the swimmers can feel it vibrating in their bones. A sound that seems to come not just from the lake, but from the very air around them. They turn toward the source, scanning the opposite shore. But there is nothing. No flicker of movement. No figure silhouetted against the trees. The forest stands still, indifferent and implacable. The only motion is the gentle rocking of the water, disturbed by their own presence. The swimmers, now shivering despite the warmth of the summer night, make their way back toward the dock, their movements hurried, each one unwilling to be the last out of the water. Once on shore, they huddle together, wrapped in towels, their skin prickling with fear. Above them, the sky is clear, the stars indifferent witnesses to their unease. They debate what to do. Should they investigate, or leave at once? The urge to flee is strong, but so is the pull of the unknown. One of them, a local, recalls stories told by old-timers, tales of tragedies long past, of lovers lost to the depths, of voices that call out on moonless nights. As the group listens, the wind stirs, carrying with it the faintest trace of another scream, so faint it might only be imagination. But the fear is real, palpable, binding them together in a hush of dread. They gather their belongings, casting anxious glances at the water's black surface. The lake, once a place of joy and adventure, now seems forbidding, its secrets hidden beneath fathomless depths. On the drive home, conversation is subdued. Each swimmer is lost in thought, replaying the night's events, searching for answers. Was it an animal, a trick of the wind? Or was it something more, a voice from the past, a remnant of sorrow left behind by those who vanished into the water? The questions linger long after the headlights have faded from the winding mountain road, long after the swimmers have returned to the safety of their homes. In the days that follow, the story spreads. Some dismiss it as a prank or an illusion, the product of nerves and darkness. Others are not so sure. Locals share their own stories, of lights seen flickering on the water, of cold hands brushing against swimmers' ankles, of dreams haunted by cries for help. The lake, they say, is old, older than memory, and it remembers. As summer wanes, the swimmers find themselves drawn back, not out of bravery, but out of a need to understand. By daylight, the lake is beautiful, its waters clear and inviting, the mountains reflected in perfect mirror symmetry. But as night falls, a hush settles over the water, and the memory of the screams returns. Some nights, nothing happens. The lake is silent, save for the chorus of frogs and the hum of insects. But on others, when the wind shifts and the moon hides behind the clouds, the scream comes again, distant, mournful, echoing across the water. Those who hear it speak of a chill that settles deep in their bones, a sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Over time, the legend grows. The lake becomes a place of both beauty and fear, a reminder that even in the most peaceful places, the past lingers, and the unknown waits just beyond the reach of light. Visitors come, drawn by curiosity or the thrill of the unknown, testing their courage beneath the watchful gaze of the mountains. Yet for those who were there that night, who heard the screams echo across the water, the memory never fades. It serves as a warning, a mystery that refuses to be solved. The lake keeps its secrets well, its surface calm and untroubled by day, its depths guarding what lies beneath. And so the story endures, whispered around campfires and recounted on stormy nights, a tale of screams by the lake, of courage and fear, of the thin line that separates the known from the unknowable. In the heart of the mountains, where the world feels ancient and wild, the lake waits, listening, its waters reflecting the stars and the mysteries of the night. Road trips have a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, especially when the familiar lines on a map lead to the unexpected. On a brisk autumn afternoon, a group of friends wound their way through backcountry roads, eager to escape the city's hum and discover the quieter corners of the world. The car was filled with laughter and music, the kind of easy camaraderie that only comes from shared adventures and the promise of a weekend away. Their destination, a lakeside town known for its vibrant fall colors. But as the sun dipped lower, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple, a faded wooden sign caught their eye. It pointed down a narrow gravel road, its chipped letters spelling out, "Pine Hollow Campground, closed for the season." Curiosity, that old companion of wanderers, got the better of them. The car slowed, tires crunching on loose stones as they turned down the road less traveled. Tall pines crowded in, their needles whispering secrets to the wind. The further they drove, the more the world seemed to change, the air growing colder and tinged with the earthy scent of fallen leaves. At last, the trees parted, revealing a clearing where the remnants of summer fun lingered in the shadows. A row of wooden cabins, their windows dark and empty, a rusted swing set creaking in the breeze, and a cracked basketball court overrun by weeds. They parked beside what must have once been the main lodge. Its paint was peeling, the porch sagged beneath the weight of forgotten seasons, and a sign in the window read, "See you next year," with a faded smiley face. But there was something else too, a sense of being watched, as if the trees themselves were keeping vigil over the empty camp. The group stepped from the car, their laughter quieting. The chill in the air grew sharper, and the silence was almost complete, broken only by the wind and the distant call of a crow. One friend joked about ghost stories and summer camp legends, but the words seemed to hang in the air, unanswered. Drawn by a mixture of nostalgia and intrigue, they explored the cabins. Each one told its own story. Bunk beds stripped bare, names and dates carved into wooden walls, a forgotten flashlight rolling beneath a cot. The memories of countless summers seemed to echo in the empty space. Laughter, songs, late-night whispers. Yet all was still, as if the camp itself was holding its breath. As they wandered, they noticed small signs that someone, or something, had been there recently. A lantern perched on a windowsill, a pile of firewood neatly stacked beside a fire pit, and boot prints in the muddy earth leading toward the woods. At first, they chalked it up to a caretaker, perhaps someone watching over the camp in the off-season. But the caretaker was nowhere to be seen. Drawn by curiosity, they followed the prints into the woods, the trees growing denser and the light dimmer as dusk settled in. The trail wound past forgotten archery targets and a mossy canoe, half sunk in a marshy inlet. The world felt untouched, yet not entirely abandoned. They pressed on, the sense of being watched growing stronger. Suddenly, a figure darted between the trees, a flash of movement, gone as quickly as it appeared. They called out, their voices shaky but brave. No answer came, only the rustle of leaves and the distant snap of a twig. A shiver ran through the group, and they exchanged uneasy glances. Perhaps it was time to return to the car, to the road, to the safety of what was known. As they retraced their steps, they noticed more oddities. A cabin door left ajar that they were sure had been closed, a swing swaying gently though the wind had stilled. The sense of unease grew, settling over them like a blanket. When they reached the main lodge, night had fallen, and the world was painted in shades of blue and gray. They climbed into the car and tried to laugh off their nerves, but as the headlights pierced the darkness, they saw something that made their hearts pound. A pale face, half hidden behind a tree at the edge of the clearing, eyes reflecting the light like an animal caught in the beam. It was gone in an instant, leaving only the impression of something ancient and watchful, something that belonged to the camp in a way no visitor ever could. The car sped down the gravel road, the friends silent now, each lost in thought. Behind them, the camp slipped back into darkness, the cabin standing as silent sentinels beneath the pines. The road wound on, carrying them away from Pine Hollow and back toward the world they knew. Later, as they recounted the story to friends, each remembered the details differently. A face, a shadow, a voice lost in the wind. Some said it was just a caretaker, others wondered about old legends of the forest. Perhaps it was only their imagination, fueled by the setting sun and the eerie silence of a place left to sleep through the winter. But sometimes, in the quiet moments before sleep, they remembered the feeling of eyes watching from the darkness, the sense that the camp was not as empty as it seemed, and they wondered if, when the season turns and the laughter of campers returns, Pine Hollow will wake from its slumber, or if something else will be waiting in the woods, keeping watch over the cabins, just as it always has. In the end, the detour became more than just a story. It was a reminder that the world is full of places where the past lingers, where memories and mysteries intertwine, and where the line between what is seen and unseen is thinner than we care to admit. The abandoned campground remains, waiting for the next curious traveler to stumble upon its secrets, and perhaps to add another chapter to its legend.